Have you ever wondered how you can create a design like this one? By the end of this video, you'll be able to create your own special Halloween poster. When I created this design, I have made some research and I got my inspiration from the Stranger Things movie posters. In today's video, I'll reveal a lot of my secrets, so let's jump right in. First picture that I started with is this one. I added a mask, then I duplicated the same layer with the sky, and I set the blending mode to color dodge. By doing that and apply the mask to this layer, I made the top part brighter, and then on top of this one I have added this image and I have applied a mask to the top part, and then another picture with the sky, and on this one I have added another mask, and I have managed to set like a base for my design. Then I have added a moon to the top part with some clouds, and then I have played a bit with some blending modes. Let me quickly explain you what I did here. So because I had all those colors to the top part, to the sky part, I wanted to change them, and first of all, when I try to change the colors of the sky, for example, I start with a normal layer set to color, and then I change the color to a bluish color, for example, and if I start to paint, it will change the sky or that area from my design in that color. And then I change the color to a purple color, something like that, and I continue to paint, but the flow should be really low, like 2-3%, and I managed to have another color besides the bluish color. And then on top of this one I have added a layer set to color dodge, and by doing that with the color dodge I want to set the base for my monster, so I have painted with a very bright blue color, and that will be the glow for my pumpkin monster. If you want to brighten up that area more, you can create another layer, set it to linear dodge, and you can paint with the white color and you'll brighten up that area more. And if you want to increase even more, you should create another layer and set it to overlay, and with the white color, if you paint more, you'll brighten up that area a lot. Those adjustments I have added after I made a monster, but now because the screen is empty, you will understand much better. Then I added this picture and I have added a mask and kept only the bottom part. To this image I have added a curves adjustment layer, and I have darkened everything, the whites and the blacks. Then with the selective color I have changed the neutrals to have this bluish gray look to my background image. Then a really cool thing that I want to teach you now is not that big, but it is really nice. If you don't have a stock image with the forest, for example, we create another layer, an empty layer, and then we are going to use the brushes from Evenan concept art brush pack, which is amazing. I'm going to give you the link for it, and here we have this brush, the forest brush, and we are going to use the brush tool and increase the flow to around 25-23%. And if you hold Alt and grab a color like that, the darkest color from our background, we are going to quickly paint, and I'm just clicking around, and you'll see that we are going to paint something like a forest, and this will be the background for my artwork today. You can even change the colors, or you can change the flow if you want to something even stronger, like 34%, and we can create more trees, something like that. And now we need to blend better the forest with our background grass image, and we are going to do this by painting some mist, and I'm going to paint this mist using a soft light brush. So I'm going to create a new layer, take the soft brush, and with this soft brush I'm going to hold Alt and select a bright color from my background, this one, and I'm going to paint around, and this is our fog. And on top of this one, this time I have added an image with a fog. So this is the normal image with a fog. If you want to get rid of the black background, the easiest way is to set this blending mode to screen, and then I have added a mask and mask the fog, and I have decreased the opacity to around 50%. And to this fog I have applied a hue and saturation adjustment layer to have this bluish color to my fog, because otherwise the color was gray and I wanted to have the same colors as the forest. And then I have placed the forest and the fog into one group, and to this forest I have added this selective color because I wanted to have some colors over there. And then on top of everything I have played again with some mist by doing the same steps. I have painted with a soft brush, and again with the color that I told you about, a layer set to color, I have painted with a blue color to blend everything into one color. So click on create new layer, set it to color, take the brush tool, and with the blue color you can paint around, and now you'll see that everything will have almost the same tones, and this is really great if you use this layer set to color. And then I wanted to paint some scarecrows, so this scarecrow is manually painted by me. As you can see, I'm a really big talent in creating scarecrows. I'm kidding. If you wanna quickly learn how to do this, let's create a new layer and let's change the brush. I have used another brush, something like that. You can use any brush that you want. If you know matte painting, this is not for you, but for those who want to learn. As I said, this is not my biggest skill in Photoshop, but let me quickly show you how to create this one. So you create a new layer, and let's use this color. For example, let's set the flow to 100% and also the opacity. Now I started, as I remember, I started with the legs part, so something like that. I created one leg and then I moved to the other one, and after I did that I created the top part. Alright, so after you create this weird shape, let's change the brush to the eraser and take the same brush and then make it smaller and change again the flow and the opacity to 100%. And now we can erase some parts, something like that, to make it look much better. So yeah, those were the things that I did here. And after you do this, don't forget to do the parts that are really scary. So take again the brush tool and do the things like that, the branches if you prefer, something like that, really weird and random and scary. And don't forget that the end part of those things should be smaller. So change again to the eraser tool and erase the end of those things. After you did this, lock the layer by pressing on this little icon, and now everything that you do will remain inside this layer. So now if I'm drawing, everything remains inside. It works like you are clipping a layer inside this layer, but only that now you are using one layer only, not other layer. And then after you do this part, let's sample a brighter color from the screen. So hold Alt, and now because I have my moon here on this side, the light comes from this side, and I will paint some highlights with that color that I took from the background, something like that. And to this scarecrow I have added another layer, and this time I clip it inside. So now let's switch to the soft brush, and the flow should be around 10% and the opacity also 100%. Alright, and now if you look at my colors, you'll see that the background color, it's a different color than my scarecrow. So now we need to paint with almost the same color that we have on the background to lose this scarecrow into the mist. So sample a color, hold Alt, click, and now you see I grab that color. And now let's zoom out, and if I increase the brush size and start to paint, you'll see that the scarecrow is lost in the mist, and this is really great. I hope that you enjoyed my really quickly scarecrow demo, and to the other side I just duplicated the layer and continue to paint other branches and other details to my Scarecrow. Alright, now is the time to add the pumpkins. I have all those pumpkins from Envato Elements. I rotated them and I managed to find a really good position to every pumpkin that I use here in this tutorial. Before moving on, it's time to load up Envato Elements, the sponsor of today's video. I've been using Envato Elements for the past months, and with over 55 million assets you can find basically all that you need to level up your skills. You can have access to unlimited high quality stock photos, 3D assets, video templates, graphics, posters, fonts or audio files, and so much more. When I created this design, I needed a lot of really cool pumpkins, and I found them by using the 3D section. There I was able to rotate them into the position that I needed, and then I could save them as PNG files, and that saved me a lot of time because I didn't really need to spend a lot of time in cutting those pumpkins out of their background. Then I was lucky enough to find those really amazing pictures with the children running around, and that really helped me to speed up my workflow. You can download all the assets that you want with just one subscription. Envato Elements offers 50% off to an annual subscription. So rather than paying $33 per month on a monthly plan, you'll be paying only $16.50 per month on an annual plan. If you want to give it a try, I'll drop a link in the description below the video. If you want to learn how to add the lights and the glows to the pumpkins, you must watch this tutorial. It's my latest tutorial and I have explained there step by step how to create the glows and also how to create your own unique face to a pumpkin. What I did here extra is to add a hue and saturation adjustment layer, and I have applied a blend diff. So now let me show you how to create this blend diff on the hue and saturation layer. So create a hue and saturation layer and press colorize, and here let's grab our color, something like that, which will be the color that our pumpkins are reflecting on the ground, and increase the saturation, something like that. Then double click on the layer and here drag this slider to the right, hold alt, and now drag the left slider to the left, but not all the way to the left, 9-10%, and then hit OK. Go on the mask and press Ctrl and I to invert it, and now take the white color, the brush and the white color, and now let's paint some reflections on the ground where our pumpkins are reflecting that light that comes from their face. And the next one is to add some shadows to those pumpkins using exposure. So let's create an exposure adjustment layer and decrease the exposure around -157, and then invert the mask by pressing Ctrl and I, and with the white color just paint where our pumpkins should have the shadows, and you must take care of the light source. In our case the light source comes from this side and we should have the shadows to the left. So those are the shadows, and I have placed everything into one group. All the pumpkins are into one group, and to this group I added some highlights. Let me quickly show you how to add those highlights. First of all, we are going to create a layer using the top menu. So go to new layer and here choose the mode linear dodge and fill it with black. Here we are going to use the blend diff in another way. Just double click on the layer first before we start. Hold alt, drag this slider from the left to the right, and then let's move this white slider to the left, something like that, and now hold alt and drag the right slider to the right and hit OK. And now with the white color, change the brush to the white color, and now let's zoom in and we are going to paint on the sides of the pumpkin. The flow should be around 10%. Now let me show you how it's going to look like. I'm using the soft brush and I'm painting on the sides of the pumpkin. And then we are going to create the pumpkin monster. So creating this pumpkin monster wasn't easy because I don't know that well to paint a monster and then use the photo bashing technique to fill it with textures. So I did it in another way. First I created something like a shape to guide me, and then I tried to find some trees already made and used the parts of the trees to create my monster. So first of all, I created a new layer first. This is just a sketch, but it will help me to create the rest of the monster. So first I started with the leg part, the branches part. So yeah, this is the thing that I started with, and then I try to add more parts to my idea. So the picture that I have used is this one. It's a tree. I think I have it from FreePic. It's really weird, but it helped me to create this monster. So first thing, I rotate it, and I have added a mask and kept only some parts of this tree. So this is the first one that I have added, and then I duplicate it. You see, so this is the same duplicated, and I have kept only this part of the branches. And then I did the same thing, duplicated again this layer, rotated, and I have used and kept only this part. And then the same thing. So this is the basic shape for my monster, and then I have made a hand. This was the basic shape. I saw it in a monster, I don't know, on some poster I think, and then I have made the shape of the hand, and to this shape I have painted with a brush to have this texture, this tree texture. So this is the basic shape for my hand. I created a new layer, and I have used this brush that I have that imitates the texture of the tree. So I used this color, this gray color, and I started to paint inside our hand, something like that, and that was the texture for my hand. And then I have added some small veins on the sides, and I have added everything into one group. So now, because we have different elements into our tree monster, we will try to equalize everything. So I have added a brightness and contrast, decrease the brightness to the -150 and increase the contrast. And then with a soft light I have added more shadows. Let me quickly show you how to use this soft light. Go and create a new layer using the top menu, and the mode should be soft light, and fill it with 50% gray. And now let's take the soft brush, and with the black color selected and the flow around 10%, we are going to paint on some parts to make those parts darker. So wherever you paint with this black color on a soft light layer set to 50% gray, you'll add more darkness to your image. And then on top of everything, I have added an exposure and made everything even darker. And now our monster looks more scary. And now is the time to add some magic things, some glows that are coming out of his branches. So let me quickly show you how to do this. Create a solid color adjustment layer and set the color to green. And then invert the mask by pressing Ctrl and I. For this step I use the lasso tool because it imitates the hand movement. It has all those imperfections, and that is really important. And then if you want to add more, just hold shift. You see that plus icon on near the lasso tool, and just play around and take care of the shape of the tree, because this is really important to use the texture that the tree already has. And at the end, when you finished and you think you have finished with adding the parts, click on the mask and hold Alt and click delete. And here, for example, if you want to make those glows more transparent, switch to the black color, and if you paint on the mask, you see that green will fade more, and this is really nice because you don't need to have the same intensity everywhere. And then I'm going to do the same thing, solid color, that green color, and this time I'm going to change the blending mode to linear dodge, Ctrl I to invert the mask, take the brush tool, and if you paint with the white color on those green parts, you'll add some glow over there. And then let's go back to our tree. I have added some reflections, some rim lights. Here for this moment we have the orange color because we will add the pumpkin later on, and here he will have some lights, orange lights coming out of his eyes. So let me quickly show you how to add those highlights. Again, layer, new layer from the top menu, and here choose linear dodge, fill it with black, double click on the layer and hold Alt and drag the slider to the right around 70% and then hit OK. This is the blend diff. It's really important to disperse the colors. And then take again that color, that green color, and now let's paint some green reflections. You see I'm painting, and now the color is dispersing on our tree because I use the blend diff. On top of this one we are going to create the same layer, new layer and here linear dodge, fill it with black. And this time I'm going to use the same green color and I'm going to paint on the sides, but I'm not going to use the blend lift this time. So on the sides first I'm going to paint with the green color and the soft brush. So if you paint, you'll see that it will add those rim lights, those reflections on the side, and you should take your time because you need to add more to all those parts where you have the branches. And then when you finish, you are going to change the color to white and do the same thing with the white color to the branches that you did now with the green color. Alright, and then I'm going to switch to the white color and I'm going to decrease a bit the size of the brush, and I'm repeating the process this time with the white color. So now our rim lights look more strong, and usually I do this first. I set the color. In our case this is green, but you may have other colors, and then after you paint with that color, then switch to the white color and continue to paint with the white color also. Now, because the colors are too intense and we don't need that black color because it doesn't really match the background, so we are going to add a new layer, and here we are going to clip it inside by holding Alt and click between the layers, and take the soft brush, make the size bigger, and now with the hold Alt, click on the ground to pick a color from the ground. And now if we are painting over there, you see we are going to lose those legs on the background. So don't worry if you exaggerate, just switch to the eraser tool and you can erase some parts. So just use the eraser tool. Then I have added some haze, some mist, using the same method that I just told you with painting and then erasing some parts. And let's add the pumpkin here on top. This pumpkin already had a face, so I didn't really need to spend that much time in creating another face. But as I said, you have a dedicated tutorial on how to create this face or other faces if you want, and you can play around and learn that technique because it will help you in the future. And now to this layer I have decreased the colors by using the exposure adjustment layer, and then I have added a curves adjustment layer and increased a bit the lights on the sides. And then I have used this level adjustment layer. I have made everything darker, and another one. This time I changed the colors of the pumpkin using the color balance. With selective color I have changed the reds and made the pumpkin more orange. And then with an exposure I have made everything darker. Another exposure I have made the top part brighter because we have the moon on that side. And then you'll learn that in that dedicated tutorial I have painted this part of the interior with a solid color. And then on top I have painted the interior of the eyes and the mouth with a solid color. And then I have added an exposure inside to increase that yellow color. And this color fill I have added after. This is a solid color set to orange and the blending mode set to color dodge. I have painting here on the eyes to make that part glow. And also in the interior I have used another color fill and I have painted with some red color. And then highlights, because we have those green colors. This green light source is casting a green color on our pumpkin, and I did the same thing with the white color. I have painted with this linear dodge layer as I showed you many times in this tutorial. And then I have added this little crow here on those branches, and I have painted with the green on the sides and also with the white. And I have added some leaves on our pumpkin monster, and then I have added this green magic that comes from the monster to the children, and you can learn that by watching many tutorials from my channel to understand how to create this magic effect. Is really nice and easy, and you can learn it in a few minutes also. So I have this photo with this happy family running with a dog, and I have selected only the little girl from this picture. Then on the grass part I have added a mask, and with the grass brush I have masked that part and blended with the background. Then I have manually painted the hair, something like that, and I have placed everything into one group, and to this group I have added this selective color where I have changed the neutrals to match her colors better with the background. And then with the brightness and contrast I have increased a bit, just 1 point the brightness and a lot the contrast. And with the exposure I have made her darker by decreasing the exposure, and with the curves I have added the curves just on her left side, our right side. You see here I made made that part a bit brighter, and with the exposure again I have made some parts darker, right? And with the curves again, her left side, you see I made it even brighter. And then with that soft light I added some more shadows to her dress and body. And then the highlights, here I have painted with the green color because we have some green coming from the tree, and with some orange color that we have from the pumpkins. So this is the linear dodge, and this is the blend diff that I have applied there. Otherwise without this blend diff it will look like that. You see, if you paint and you do not use the blend diff, so use the blend diff, just hold Alt and drag the right slider to the right. And then I have manually painted the other highlights with the green color and with the orange color on the other side. I have painted more details on the hair part. At the end I always add the white parts of the hair because now I know in which direction I'm going with the design. Alright, and in her hand I attach her a basket. So this is the basket. I have added a mask and masked that part of her hand, so it looks like she is holding that basket in her hand. And then I have added an exposure adjustment layer and made it darker, even darker with the soft light, and then with the brightness and contrast. This side, the right side, our right side, it's brighter. And then with the selective color I have changed the colors of the basket, and I have changed the neutrals, and the highlights I have added them this time with the solid color adjustment layer and with a green color, and the layer is set to linear dodge. I did the same thing here, but this time the layer it's orange, and again my highlights, the other highlights, the rim lights with the green color and the white color at the end. First I wanted to add a cat because I have a cat that looks almost like this cat. I found it really funny to add a cat over there, and if you have cats at home, just leave me a comment down below. But later on I decided to remove the cat. I'm so sorry cat, you have to go now. And I have added those sweets, and to those sweets that I have from Envato also I have added some adjustments of the exposure to make them darker, the highlights. And then I found this really cool picture with those little boys running, and I used this little boy from our right side. And basically the process is the same. First you select the little boy and add a mask to add that grass part. First thing, you decrease the lights, so with the exposure I decrease the lights, and then with the brightness and contrast even more I increase the contrast and decrease the brightness, and decrease the brightness even more with another exposure. And then with the curves adjustment layer I have brightened up that area. I have did the same thing with the solid color set to linear dodge. I have painted this green color on his right side, and also to the other part I have painted with the orange color. And then the highlights first were the orange, you see here on the right side, and the rim lights I have painted them with the green and the orange, and on top of them the white color. Alright, and then I have painted the hair with this green and orange color, and also with the white color at the end. So I was thinking that he needs a lantern in his hand, so I have added this lantern, added some shadows with soft light, and with the selective color I have changed the neutrals to have this bluish tint to the lantern, and I have added this white color using a solid color, and I have painted the lights of the lantern using a layer set to linear dodge, where I have painted with the yellow color. So first I have created a layer and set it to linear dodge. I took something like yellow color, and I have painted some rays, something like that, and then on top of them I have added another layer set to screen, and I have painted with white on top of this one, something like that. And then to the other layer, the linear dodge, I have added a mask, and with the black color I have masked some parts of that layer. And underneath them I have added some shadows with the same exposure, so I have manually painted the shadows underneath them. And then I have added those bats on the sky, and now is the time for the camera raw filter. So press Ctrl Shift and I, and what this does is creating a layer like a screenshot, like a print screen, and it's really important for the next step. So right click and convert it to a smart object, and then go to filter and choose camera raw filter. When I'm doing night scenes, I always increase the exposure, contrast, shadows and blacks, and I decrease the highlights and whites. Then I have increased the texture clarity and the haze, and on the detail I have increased everything. Here on the color grading I played a bit with the colors, and on the effects I increased a bit the grain to equalize everything that I have in my image, and that was it. And then hit OK. Now is the time for my Mr. 23 review to choose a featured artist from the people that tagged my Mr. 23 review when they posted their artwork on Instagram. Today the featured artist is Perky Visuals. I really love his design. I used to create fantasy designs like this one and he did a really great job. He has a really low number of followers, so we need to change that. So I should start by following him back, and you should do the same because he has a really cool page here on Instagram. So congrats Alex Perkins for being the featured artist of this video. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. I hope that you learned new and interesting things. If you did so, please leave me a comment down below, and also please let me know what would you like to learn in my next tutorials. Thank you so much and see you next time.